You are probably sitting in a meeting right now, or maybe commuting, and you just sort of zone out.
Yeah, totally happens to everyone.
Right. You start daydreaming about your next vacation, or maybe you're spiraling into anxiety about some email you sent yesterday.
Mhm.
And you likely view those moments as just, harmless
Or
distractions.
just annoying background noise in your brain.
Exactly. But according to a highly rigorous operating manual for human consciousness, you are actually wielding a reality-bending superpower in those exact moments. You're just, well, completely misusing it.
Most of us go through our entire days utterly unaware of this massive reality-generating power we have running in the background.
Right.
Every passing thought, every complaint, it's utilizing an incredible amount of mental computing power. And we usually end up pointing that power directly against our own well-being.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to completely dismantle that sort of romantic, wishful thinking approach to spirituality.
The passive approach.
Yeah, the one where you toss a coin into a fountain, close your eyes, and just blindly hope for a miracle without changing any of your actual habits. Instead, we are decoding the human mind as a highly rigorous, hardcore operating system.
We're talking about mental mechanics that look a lot more like computer programming than, mystical poetry.
Definitely. And we are pulling this operational framework from a truly fascinating Dharma talk. I want to be really clear about our sources here.
Yeah, the grounding material is key.
Right. So this is produced by Buddhist Practice Incorporated, Australia. The speaker is Consultant Benny. And the seeker of Buddhist teachings, who is asking these intense questions, is Venerable Ivy. Oh, and production is by No Book of Dawn.
And before we get too deep into the architecture, setting the context for you listening is vital. This material, it arrives in the form of a Buddhist text, yes.
Oh.
But viewing this as merely some sort of religious ritual or dogmatic rule book will cause you to miss the genius of the system entirely.
Because it's really mechanical, right?
Oh, exactly. Consultant Benny is laying out a universal systemic blueprint. It functions as a manual for setting incredibly precise goals, understanding the bottom line logic of how our reality operates, and taking actionable steps to debug your own mental code.
Okay, so let's start building this operating system. If you want to write software, you need that very first line of code to dictate everything that follows.
The foundation.
Right. In this system, that initial code is called the vow, or the initial intention. And in the source material, Consultant Benny makes some very specific, really hardcore vows to Guanyin Bodhisattva.
Guanyin being the figure representing ultimate compassion.
Yeah, but he doesn't ask Guanyin for, peace or happiness.
Yeah.
He demands to know all dharmas, which basically means understanding the underlying rules of absolutely everything in existence. And he demands to obtain the eye of wisdom.
He's asking for system-level access.
Exactly. But I have to push back on this because when I was reading it, this part really threw me.
Oh, how so?
Well, the stated ultimate goal of these vows is to save and help other people, right?
Right, that's the core of it.
So why spend so much time and energy demanding these high-level academic skills for yourself? It just comes across as, I don't know, kind of selfish.
Okay, I see what you mean.
It feels like seeing someone actively drowning in a river. And instead of throwing them a life preserver, you turn around, walk back to a university, and spend 8 years getting a PhD in fluid dynamics.
That is a perfect analogy for the tension here. And honestly, Consultant Benny addresses that exact friction.
Because it seems completely backwards.
It does, but he argues that having good intentions, just wanting to throw yourself into the water to help, without a systemic understanding of reality is actually a massive liability.
A liability.
Yeah.
But intention's usually the only metric we use to judge people. Like if I dive in to save you, I'm considered a hero even if I fail and we both drown.
But the question the system asks is, did you actually improve the situation?
Well, I tried.
Right, but trying isn't enough here. The text emphasizes this concept called self-verification, meaning you can't just read 100 books on swimming, build a theoretical model of water in your head, and assume you're ready.
You actually have to jump in the water.
Exactly. You have to experience the buoyancy, map the currents, and prove beyond a shadow of doubt that you know how to swim. Without this validated, tested wisdom, what the framework calls skillful means, you are categorized as a bird without wings.
Oh, wow. A bird without wings. So, meaning you see the drowning person, you have the beautiful intention to fly down and pull them out.
But because you never actually figured out the mechanics of flight,
You just throw yourself off a cliff and create a second tragedy.
exactly, you become part of the wreckage. So demanding to know all dharmas is the prerequisite for being genuinely effective rather than just well-meaning.
Which makes sense.
And this also explains the second part of his vow, the demand for the eye of wisdom.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. Because why does a practitioner need a specialized, mystical eye just to help people?
Because every single person you interact with operates on a completely unique psychological architecture.
Right.
Everyone has different childhood experiences, different trauma triggers, entirely different subconscious desires.
The source actually uses a brilliant analogy here, the lock and key.
Oh, yeah, go into that.
Okay, so imagine you are handed a luxurious, incredibly expensive master key. Your intention is pure. You want to unlock someone from a state of suffering.
You want to save them.
Yeah. So you run up to them and you try to force this master key into their lock. But you haven't even bothered to examine their specific door.
You have no idea if their lock is cross-shaped or flat.
Right. Or a digital keypad. And if you don't know that,
Aggressively jamming the wrong tool into a delicate mechanism is disastrous. You'll just end up jamming their lock completely.
you snap the key in half or you destroy their tumblers, and now they are trapped behind that door forever.
Which means your good intention actively made their suffering permanent.
So the eye of wisdom,
It represents the analytical ability to see the specific hidden mechanism of the person standing in front of you.
so you know exactly what kind of lock they have.
Yes. Without that diagnostic ability, your good intentions are nothing more than blindly smashing metal against a door.
Okay, so the vow is the master key. It's the core code.
Hmm.
But once you write that code, you need a stable environment to use it in without crashing the system.
Right, you mean architecture.
Which brings us to a wildly modern reinterpretation of a traditionally oppressive concept, precepts.
Ah, yes. Precepts.
Because when I hear the word precepts, I immediately picture restrictive, depressing rules. I think of a tight band spell, like a miserable lifestyle designed just to keep you in line.
That's how most people view them.
But consultant Benny flips this completely. He equates precepts directly to software code rules.
And this reframe is intensely practical. Think about using a high-end software program to render a beautiful 3D model. That software possesses strict input rules. If you want it to generate a specific shape, you must follow its syntax. If you get frustrated by the rules and just start smashing your hands on the keyboard...
Smashing the keyboard won't work.
Yeah.
The software isn't punishing you when it fails.
Exactly. You simply aren't speaking its language. Precepts are not moral cages built by an angry deity. They are the objective, physical laws of the software of reality.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
If violating these core rules
Yeah.
guarantees a system failure, how do we explain the real world?
What do you mean?
We constantly see people breaking moral rules, acting ruthlessly in business, stomping all over these precepts, and they get filthy rich. The software rule seems broken.
It only looks broken if your time frame is too short. The text addresses this discrepancy beautifully.
Oh, so?
It's exactly like using a cheat code or a malicious hack in a video game.
Like downloading a mod that instantly gives you 1,000,000 coins.
Yeah, you get the 1,000,000 coins instantly, and for a brief window you think you're winning. You dominate the game. But what is happening under the surface of the code? By injecting that malicious script, you have fundamentally corrupted the underlying save file of your entire game.
Oh, wow. So the people winning by breaking the rules are just accumulating corrupted code.
Exactly. Precepts aren't meant to punish you. They are the firewall protecting your system from a devastating long-term crash.
A firewall against corrupting your own save file. But even with a firewall, we are human, right? We make mistakes, and our systems inevitably catch viruses.
Unavoidable.
So what happens when the system crashes and starts throwing error codes? We enter the debugging phase, which the text calls Li Chan, or true repentance.
And this is vastly different from how we normally apologize to one another.
Yeah, standard apologies don't work here. Think about it like this. Imagine I'm at your house, I'm clumsy, and I break a priceless antique vase.
A nightmare scenario.
Right. The normal response is to cry over the shards saying, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. It makes people feel better. It smooths over the social awkwardness.
But it doesn't actually fix the root issue.
Exactly.
The symptom is addressed, but the underlying disease remains untouched. The source introduces a really high-level concept here. Sin perishes, mind is extinguished.
I need you to break that down, because how do you extinguish a mind?
Okay, so the sin in your analogy is the broken vase. the bad result. The mind is the original motive or the deeply ingrained psychological habit that caused it.
Like the habit of being careless or arrogant.
Exactly. You cannot just address the bad result, the broken vase. You must completely uproot that initial motive, the habit of clumsiness or arrogance. Both the sin and the mind must be extinguished.
Which is terrifyingly difficult. That requires fighting deeply ingrained human desires. It's so much easier to just buy a new vase and say, my bad.
It is agonizing, but if you don't uproot the virus, what happens?
You just break another vase next week.
Yes, you are stuck in an infinite loop of crashing, apologizing, and crashing again. You are entirely wasting your mental computing power.
Okay, so let's say we successfully write the code with our vow, install the firewall with precepts, and thoroughly debug the system through Li Chan. What exactly does this clean system render?
That leads to the ultimate application of our mental power, visualization or guanyang.
And the source provides a incredibly strict rule for visualization. It says, do not add, do not subtract, do not change.
Which is incredibly hard for the human brain to do.
It feels anti-human. If you tell me to imagine an apple, my brain automatically makes it redder, shinier, and bigger because I personally like red apples.
Right, we constantly add subjective filters.
Stripping away that subjective filter requires terrifying self-control.
But consultant Benny drops the harshest truth here. He points out that humans are already master visualizers. We have the processing power.
Yeah, we can effortlessly render a 4K Ultra HD image of a Sichuan hot pot in our minds.
Right down to the smell and the steam coming off the tray.
It's true.
We just waste this incredible processing power on automated cravings or on rendering high-definition anxiety about an email.
It's so true. And the source describes pointing this disciplined visualization toward the Pure Land, which is Amitabha's world.
Right.
And I'll admit, my initial thought was that this sounds like a fluffy vacation resort in the clouds.
But it's not. A more accurate description is a holographic purification chamber.
Okay, explain that.
In this Pure Land, every sensory input has a function. Even the wind in the trees, the birds, and specifically the water, which the text calls the 8-merit water, they are constantly broadcasting the Dharma.
Broadcasting it. Like a speaker.
Essentially, they are forcefully washing away your subconscious junk. The environment physically overrides your capacity to hold onto junk code.
But the source also says something really wild. It says if you have really bad code, it can take billions of years. Kelp sitting inside a lotus flower just to cleanse you.
Yes, it acts as a quarantine zone for infected files until you're stable.
Right. But if there are countless people floating in an infinite pond, inside closed lotus flowers for billions of years, don't you need an RFID tag or a nameplate on your flower so you don't get lost?
This is where consultant Benny reveals the most mind-bending answer. You don't need a tag. Because the flower is you.
Wait, literally?
Yes. Its size, color, and the light it emits are a 100% physical, real-time manifestation of your inner data.
Oh, wow. So there's no hiding.
None. In that dimension, what you see is exactly what you get. No filters, no faking it. Your mental code becomes your physical reality.
That lack of filters and absolute transparency leads to some shocking reveals in the source about how this universe actually manages data.
The physics of it.
Yeah, the cosmic physics, because Amitabha is not presented as a singular eternal god on a throne. There is actually a succession system.
An algorithmic succession plan.
Right. If your code, your vows, and your merit aligns perfectly with his, you can literally inherit the position when he retires.
You become a same-name Buddha. If your operating system matches the master system perfectly, you just merge and take over.
But what happens to the systems that refuse to align? The text describes this moment, the Great Sweep. Shakyamuni Buddha once merged all the pure lands together and literally removed all the impure beings. He swept them out like trash.
It sounds harsh when you phrase it like that.
But it sounds like a cosmic bouncer violently clearing the club. Doesn't that totally contradict the image of a compassionate, all-loving Buddha?
Well, viewing it emotionally makes it look like a punishment. But consultant Benny explains this through pure physics and frequency rejection.
Frequency rejection. Okay, what does that actually mean?
It wasn't an angry punishment. When the pure lands merged, the space's frequency was raised to the absolute maximum.
Okay.
If you are full of low-frequency trash data like anger, greed, jealousy, the environmental gravity simply ejects you. You physically can't survive the frequency.
So it's not a bouncer kicking you out, it's just the laws of physics.
Exactly, like deep-sea pressure. If we were transported there right now, but we were secretly worrying about our credit card bills, We'd be instantly bounced out of that dimension by the atmosphere itself.
That is mind-blowing.
Okay.
Let's bring this all together and recap this operating system.
Good idea.
Every daily choice you make is a vow. That's your code.
Right.
Following the rules of your environment is your precept. That's your firewall.
Keeping out the corruption.
How you handle mistakes is your repentance.
Mm-hmm.
That's your debugging phase. And finally, where you place your attention is your visualization. That is your rendering engine.
And that's why I'd remind you, listening right now, to really look at your current thoughts. What kind of world are you actively rendering today with your anxieties?
Are you building a digital ruin or a high-frequency city?
Because your system is rendering something, whether you are intentionally directing it or not.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with a brand new thought to mull over, building on all this source material.
Let's hear it.
If every single one of us is rendering our own reality based on our underlying mental code, what happens when 8 billion human operating systems are networked together?
A massive network.
Right. Is the absolute chaos of our modern society simply the result of a massive collective software conflict?
All these incompatible codes trying to run in the same space.
Exactly. And if that's true, could a synchronized update in our collective visualization instantly render an entirely new global reality?
Now that is a profound question to explore on your own.
Definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.